Alright, it's been like 3 months since I bought this laptop and I've been using it almost daily ever since then. And I think I have gone through extensive usage to come to an opinion of the pros and cons of this laptop like 3 months later. So let's get started. But before we get started, do note that I use it for creative purposes as primary usage and casual web browsing and a little bit of gaming of my choice. Uh, so that is something you have to keep in mind before considering my pros and cons about this device. I actually wanted to get a Ryzen 7 variant of the same laptop, but due to the middle of the pandemic and global supply chain shortages of the processors and etc., all of those stuff forced me to buy the Ryzen 5 4600HS variant. Uh, I bought it for 94,990 rupees, and now after 3 months, if you go look at the online retailers, they are selling it for 87,990. That's a sheer 7,000 rupees price cut after 3 months of my purchase. Now that is something which you have to consider if you are looking to buy or considering to buy this laptop. Alright, the first pro has to be the battery of this device. It charges faster than Bolt and lasts longer than Queen. It's a 4 cell 76 watt hour battery which comes with a 180 watt adapter which is at the size of your smartphone, if not even bigger than that. It lasts about 4 movies for me on one single charge. If you do watch only movies but nothing else, it lasts me for 4 movies on a single charge. Once I accidentally put it in sleep and went out of town for a couple of days, and 2.5 days later when I came back to open and boot it up, I realized I've put it on sleep, and to my surprise it has just drained about 15 or 16% from the last time where I've left. This battery lasts well when you're doing easy to moderate tasks. Battery is solid on this device. The next pro is the display. This variant comes with a 120 Hz 1920 by 1080 panel, an IPS LCD panel rated at 300 nits of maximum brightness. So far, as far as my indoor usage has gone, I've never faced any issues regarding the brightness or the color reproduction because it covers 100% sRGB as claimed by ASUS, and it is Pantone validated. For most of my works, if I am working in the space of sRGB, this is definitely serving my purpose, and for the casual usage like watching videos or playing games, it did serve my purpose to the fullest extent. The display is very nice, 1920 by 1080 at 120 Hz. The max brightness peaks out at 300 nits, and most of the time when I'm using it indoors, I never faced any issues regarding the brightness level or the color reproduction rate. Most of the time I spend with this device actually create content, and I'm not that engaged into color related work, but all the colors which I have seen on this panel is quite good. There is no issues about it. For media consumption, I believe this should be more than adequate. One of the other things I like about this device is the sheer size and the form factor of this device. The display is fantastic with thin bezels, and it weighs just about 1.6 kilograms, and it is quite easy and quite portable enough to carry around any of your existing backpacks. Speaking about sound output, I did not expect speakers to be this good on this device. Generally, the default speakers on the laptop aren't that good, and especially when you're power packing it to a compact 14-inch chassis. But the speakers lived up beyond my expectations. The sound is loud, crisp, and the bass is on point. And for regular multimedia consumption, you don't need any external speaker. You can just watch it with the default speakers. You have 4 of them, 2 facing the top and 2 beneath the chassis, and they could serve your purpose easily. Now, one of the other things I like about this laptop is the SSD on it. It is quite fast and you won't notice any lag transferring the files between your external devices and hard disk. And I think it averages around 90 Mbps or 100 Mbps based on the external devices which I have, my camera card and one of my hard disk, they do transfer around like 85 to 90 mbps. I think if your external device is much more capable, it will go even faster. The SSD is blazing fast. One of the other things which I damn like about this device is the fingerprint reader mounted to the power button. Uh, for the first click, when you try to boot up the device, you most of the times you don't have to really put your finger again to get scanned to unlock the device. It registers even before booting up. At least that was the case most of the times when I try to unlock my device with my finger. Now, coming to the cons of this device, the biggest and the nastiest of this laptop is the heating issue. I know this is a cramped, tight packed 14-inch chassis which is trying to give you a power packing performance, but you could have made some tweaks to the CPU to run it a bit cooler, because the fans which are supposed to cool the heat out of this tight pack chassis spin at very aggressive rate. Often when you're pushing it beyond the limits, or when you're dumping heavy loads on this laptop, the fan spinning to suck out the heat of the chassis makes so much of noise that easily you can get tricked that it is raining outside. I thought I can leave it up to it early on, but I think on a day-to-day basis that is kind of irritating. Nothing too bad in the performance, does not affect the performance, but the deck gets very hot, and sometimes it's cumbersome to use when I'm rendering at multiple loads or gaming intensively. That is something you have to consider. It is subjected to your usage if you are considering to buy this laptop. And when you're a creator trying to work on this laptop, you have to often carry a dongle or a external card reader to ship data from your creation devices like camera or GoPro or any other thing which runs on SDHC or micro SD cards. They could have fit it, because that's a very tiny element to the chassis, but somehow they omitted it, and now I have to carry a dongle very often, and so that is something which I don't like about this laptop, not having a SD card reader. Now, one of the other con I'm facing using this laptop is the inadequate placement of the input ports. I know this is a tight, strictly 14-inch pack chassis, but you could have altered the placement of the ports. You have two USB A ports on the right side, which are very closely sitting to each other. If you are having any of the input of USB A which is large in size, you can literally use the next port because it occupies the path which you can plug in the USB A port. Now, one of the other cons which I am facing using this device is the indication light placement. Generally, they are mounted to the side or the bottom of the device. Instead, they are mounted on the top part of the bottom half of the laptop. What happens is, when you are charging the device, you have to leave the laptop unfolded to see the status of charging, or if you are having a battery warning, you could run in trouble if you are not noticing that. That is a con which I would like to consider. Might not be a deal breaker for many, but that is a bit annoying. They could have placed it on the bottom or the side, as usually laptops come with. Now, one of the other cons of this device is there is no webcam built into the laptop, and I think it is a bit silly in 2020 to have a laptop without a webcam. You can't really extract the full performance out of this laptop unless you plug in the adapter. Maybe AMD has done it to preserve the battery for a longer period of time, or they have their own reasons, but this is neither a con nor a pro, but this is something you have to be aware. If you want to extract the complete performance, you have to have it plugged in, be either it in creative purposes or be either it in the gaming. This is subjected to opinion. For me, it's a con, because just after 3 months, the market prices went 7,000 rupees cheaper. That means I have paid 7,000 rupees extra. Or for people who are considering to buy this thing right now, it could be a pro because you're getting it for 7,000 rupees cheaper right now if you decide to buy this. That is quite subjective to opinion, and you have to figure that out. Overall, what you get from this device is a solid power packing performance with wee bit of trade-offs. I think we can have other solutions for the trade-offs, and this is value for money for sure around the current offerings in the market around this price point. This should be one of your considerations to buy a laptop of this price in this segment.